Well, you can tell summer's come. I've been reaching through the hole to turn the water on for outside. I'm off for a couple of days together next week. Today I've just got about an hour, so it's going to be what's stopping you doing what you need to do kind of a day. There's been a number of suggestions about the underframe for the camping coach. I like that. I also want to put a canopy out front of that, and I'm interested in seeing how that roof does come off. There's been a number of people tell me, and I'm going to explore. Visitors are very partial to the kiddie park, which is on a placemat. There's a little wall needs to go along there. This is the entrance to the airport, which should disguise the join. I need to put a fence there, and then with the airport itself, it needs a paint job, but I want a radar that goes round, not just a radar. Well, that's not really a radar. That would be a direction finding antenna of some sort. There is a radar there. It's a tiny little thing, but we're going to have a big one that goes around. Listen, I know how motors go around. I just don't know how to make them go around slow enough for long enough without burning out or taking up a huge amount of space. We'll figure something out, but that's one of the things I want to do on that airport. Now, you may recall me opening this up the other day and being horrified that this wasn't stuck there, because that is going to rip off that trace again. So I'm going to put a couple of screws in that. That's another little job. That's the runway lighting circuit that was also stuck up there. So some stuff coming unglued down there. We need to get that sorted out. This whole area needs to come out too, because underneath there is that rat nest that has never been sorted out, because it's kind of awkward to get at. If I take the board out, I should be able to get at it. And then up here, I have finally decided. Ooh, not a decision. Yeah, we're going to start at this end and go from there to there and on, rather than starting way down there and coming this way. Everything is being held up because I haven't got the back seam to go from there to there, and so I don't know where it ends. But what I'm going to do is use what I do have and make it make sense. Going from there around to about there somewhere first, then joining on. I think it's about there. I think those things are 9 feet, and this is a 4x4. So another foot off the end. It's probably right there. And then building out, and there's our street. And that will get us a backdrop behind the street, which is what I need next. So that allows me to do that instead of waiting for it to come the other way. This fence I intend to use around the bunker building that I built. Although I must say that the fence I've been making, I like better than that stuff. So really what we've got going on today is a couple of little jobs that will make a difference. It's more of that. I've got an order outstanding from England. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that one. I've got a little itty bitty screw on the bench here, and I said Class 40 had lost it. It might be me that's lost it. Let's have a look. Over you go. Won't hurt. Now I've got to look down these holes and find out which one doesn't have a screw. That one does. That one does. Yes. 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 Can't see down that one. Yes. So that end's good. So it's got to be one of these last two if this is where it came from. There's not one down there. All right, I'm sure it doesn't really matter that one screw is missing, but let's try and keep this thing in as near original condition as possible. That screwdriver's too big. Out you come. You can go back up on the layout. Next little job. You've been saying lose the axle boxes and the bulk of this, but leave, I don't know whether this is called a soul bar, is it? So what we're going to do is try and cut off all of the underside of the camping coach. I don't need the sponge for this. Or do it, it's not working. I'm going to try it with these rail cutters. Let's get that out of your way. And does that work? Yes, it does. It's quite a chunk of cutting. I think a Dremel may end, oh my word. Yeah, it's quite a bit. I think a Dremel may end up getting used here. Well, since I can take the take that out of the way. That will allow the Dremel in there. Same the other end. I feel like I was going to say undertaker, but it's not that. But you know what I mean. Scrapyard worker or something. I think I've said a few times the Dremel is one of my least favorite tools, on the basis that I don't think it's either one thing or the other, and the distance between here and there, this gets in the way of almost everything. Take your thumb off before you blink. Not using those. No idea what that is. It'd be nice to know what some of these tools are. Actually, I should go away and watch some YouTube instead of. These look like grinding discs because they're rough on the side, not on the edge. Well, there's the torture device setup. I'm not a big fan of this, where you're trying to hold this and this at the same time. I'd like to clamp this up. There must be a stand for it or something, but I don't have. So what I'm going to do is clamp this, the piece I'm cutting, in the vise. I'm going to move the vise down here so that you can see what I'm up to. Usually it's the other end of the bench. It's only a little thing. Anything bigger than this, we would be in the garage. Or is it garage? Making sure it's tight but not distorting the thing I'm trying to cut. I do have some safety glasses on, and the junk is coming off the bottom, so I'm going to move that side of it so that if anything does go wrong, I'll be fine. And immediately I'm going to stop and examine what's happening. It's cutting it and leaving a burr, which I'll be able to take off with a knife. So we'll carry on, trying to avoid the buffers. All right, are we doing anything sensible? Let me just poke that with a knife. Where did my knife go? Here it is. Yeah, sorta. Well, after about 5 minutes of chewing through things with the Dremel, I'm just trimming off bits that were missed. And then I'll run round it with a knife. I know you wanted to see the whole process. I know about you people. Now all I'm doing is cleaning things up. I don't need the vise, so I'm going to move it out of the way and work where I'm supposed to be. It's as quick as that. It's not a very big vise, but it is very useful. Right. I've got all these Dremel bits. I should probably put the screw back in the end of that. I didn't use that one. The screw on, you can't see that. The screw on this one was too big to go through the hole. You'd have thought somebody somewhere would have standardized. I told you I didn't like Dremel, didn't I? I'm learning to live with it, and I expect someone someday will show me how to use it, and so that I don't keep complaining about it. They say bad workmen blame their tools. I'm not blaming the tool. I'm just saying I don't like the tool. The only downside of this is that the coach itself has these legs or clips. And I'm told if you push the windows in, see, I'm getting distracted. If you push the windows in, the roof pops off. And I'm also seeing that the roof, it's probably true because the roof is going transparent or translucent. So it's probably, yeah, that is how it works. But I'm not going to do it. Not right now. We're going to finish what we've started and get this thing cleaned up. I do like the baked potato van. I found a jelly deal van on Amazon. I haven't put a link in the description because there was only one of them, and there's no point if they haven't got any more. But I could not find it anywhere. I must see if I can go to the Oxford diecast site and plough through what they actually have, because sometimes that stuff comes and goes. I don't think that one is Oxford though, is it? The Spud van. Somebody, what is he talking about? I'll show you in just a second. There you go, that one, the dinner jacket van that's sitting up on top of the station forecourt. The observant will notice the Belisha beacon isn't working. Well, that's because I've disconnected the power, because I'm also working on that today. You may or may not see that in this video. Depends how far we get. Now, is this smooth enough and enough to put it down now on the layout? Yeah, I think so. There's a few rough bits, but nothing serious. And I'm told it'll look better with that underneath. Isn't that funny? It doesn't clip. What have I done? It's upside down, you clown. There we go. The nice side up. That's it. Now here it looks all right. Let's go put it on the layout. All right, let's give it a try. Ooh, that's a hefty reach. Sorry, you just had a carriage land on your dinner table. Yeah, I think it does look a little better. All right, one more improvement. Come with me. Got that closed just in time. Hello, you've come to see me. Where have you been? Where are you going under there? There's nothing down there for you. Well, hello, Shadow. No, we're not eating anything down there. Let me get that cleaned up. No, I'm not letting you back there. I've got the vacuum cleaner out. I've told you before I'm yellow, so this was a logical choice since I already had the batteries. Remarkably good unit. I like it a lot. Little bit pricey, but you get what you pay for, I suppose. I love it because I can use it as a vacuum cleaner or pull the nozzle out and clean the bench. I'll show you. Yeah, I think those were the bits that Shadow was showing interest in. That kind of kind of thing. Let's get these bigger bits. I am not keeping, can't think of anything to, any reason to keep those. So anything on there I'll throw away in a second. And then if I pull on the hose, it comes right out of there, and I've got a bench vacuum. Another thing I like about it is it's small enough to fit in the bottom drawer with my drill. There's a charger that goes in there. That's where my clips are. There's some track hiding under there. And there we go. Cleaning up as I go. Ooh. My wife will be impressed, just saying. And if you want a link for the DeWalt vacuum cleaner in the description, I'm sure you can find it though. I'd never seen it in the hardware stores, but found it online. Quite impressed with it. Now, what was I going to do before I was so rudely interrupted by Shadow and a vacuum cleaner? Doesn't take much to distract me, does it? Canopy. That's what we need, a canopy. So let's see what I can find. I'm back in the books. Something suitably canopy looking. That does. Just thumbing through. Too big. Checkers too much, stars too much, dots no. It's not bad. I had some the other day, didn't I? I think it was that one I was going to use for curtain. That's actually not a bad idea, Ian. You're thinking. Since we are tying the camping coach to the hotel, and those are the curtains in the hotel, these are, yeah, it's the same. Then that makes sense, so we'll use that. Well, you've come back again, have you? You didn't like the noise of the vacuum cleaner. I know about you. Yeah, you've been out, so there's nothing to do with you. All right. Where's your brother? Where's Sparky? What have you done with him? You haven't eaten him, have you? As a precaution, I'm going to take the big dog out. I'll be back. Well, the precaution was justified, but she's brought her brother back with her now. Hey, Sparky. You want your ears rubbed? Is that what you want? Okay. And you're both roaming around down here. I've got to keep an eye on two of you now, haven't I? You get yourself out of the trash can there, you. I know about you. You'll eat anything. No, don't eat your brother. Come on. You want to be up there on your own, is that it? Why don't you come here and I'll scratch your ears. Come on. There we are. Yeah. It's your big ugly sister right there, look. Yeah. It's both of you. Now a canopy. I'm going to cut this with scissors. It's easy enough to cut this way. I want to get a red line close to the edge, and then I'll match it up with the other end, and we'll make a little canopy that comes out. Do you know what pinking shears are? I think they're the crinkly scissors. That would really come in handy on the front of this, but we'll do it another way. So I don't need very much of this. But I'm going to cut all the way across, so I've got at least a half-decent straight line. Now, it's unusual to have both dogs down here roaming free. No idea what they're up to. They've been fed, so it's not that. And the big one's just been out, so it's not that either. So we're doing just the other side of this thick red line here. And then, that's the right length, of course. Now, how long? if we say about 2.5, maybe 3, make it 3 centimeters. That makes some sense to me anyway. Mark it on the back. That looks about parallel. Quick jaunt down the line. And we'll fold the front over. So you need to find a way of folding that carefully. Eyeballing it. And I'll use the back of my knife. And once it's created a crease, I can fold that over. Edge of the ruler stuff. Like that. There we go. Does that look about right? Yeah. I have to fray that out of it. And then we'll need some supports. Now the reason I chose that length, because it's same distance as the thing is high. So now I need 3 supports. What am I going to make those supports out of? Well, what have I got? A couple of these. I don't want to put them into the ground, because if you do that, then you're at the mercy of, can't move it around. There is a sole plate now on there, so we can jam them in that. I think these will work fine. They're white. They'll be all right, white. Now then, to get the length, I need to eyeball the angle. So we just prop this underneath the gutter, which is where it would be. And then set it up to the angle I think we need, or something like that. So if I measure that distance there, it's coming out at 3.5, so 35. So let's cut one at 35 and see what it looks like. Does this work? Jammed in the sole bar, in the edge of the paper. Are we about right at least? It's about right. So I now cut, since I want one in the middle as well, I need some more of those. Piece of stir stick, I think if we put that there and glue it on the underside. Put this ruler away. That should work. And then these will glue to it and to there. And then we've also got to glue. I'm going to use super glue. You watch me glue my fingers. Something like that. You're going to mess it up, Ian. You know it, don't you? Start in the middle. It's too much glue. And now I can use this to spread it out. There we go. And a knife to poke it under there. It is under there. And it is already gluing. That's lovely. That's plenty enough. And pop the lid on. I've dipped one end in the glue. Put it on the sole bar. Is it reaching? It's not going to be easy to keep in place though. Is this working? It is. There's one. I'll come back and adjust that when the glue has dried. This one I'm going to put glue on both ends, being brave. There we are. And the same with the third one. I am going to offset it just because of the carriage door. It'll make it look like I thought about it. That's so that the door can actually open. It looks like you need a fourth one now. You absolutely don't. This is where it all goes wonky. Something's not parallel. That's better. Well, there we go. It looks not bad at all. I'm going to leave it to set. I was asked in the comments a couple of times, where did I get these? I got these from Hobby Lobby, but you can see these ones and these ones are different. Any model supply place these days seems to have them. They're known as paint sticks. And what I'm doing here is attempting to paint the buffers bright red, but for whatever reason I've just stirred that paint. Now is not the time for foul ups. Put the red paint away. See, I do listen to you people. Somebody said you need to use enamel paint. Well, that's what that is. And now I've got some white enamel paint. And throw that stick away. Sounds wasteful. It's not, because I'm now not going to get white paint all over me. And the white paint is for the buffers. Thanks to the suggestion of Rails of Sheffield's. I think there's a white, aren't they? Looks the part. Yes, what do I do with it? I will balance it across this plastic thing. Like that. There we are. Put my things away. Throw the used paint sticks straight in the trash. Straight in the trash with you. Pop the lid. Ooh, that paint smells. we're going to put the paint away. I didn't get a bit on me. And I'll be back. So today's project was brought to you by a stir stick, which is hiding up under the canopy, 3 paint sticks, and a piece of paper. Yeah, and I do like that the buffers are suitably painted, just because that's what would happen. The reason for the offset is because of the door that would open in the middle. Yeah, I think that's a little better than just plop and play, as I call it. So that's one more project improved. Thanks for all of you who suggested I leave the underframe on. I have to build some steps, but those are going to wait. There was a biscuit there to go with my tea, wasn't there, Sparky? Do you know anything about the missing biscuit? You're sorry. Yes, I thought you might be. How did you get to there, or did Shadow help you? Anyway, whilst I finish my nice cup of tea, I'm looking at these Arnold Sands wagons. They're really old with the huge D couplings. There's 2 of them there. I am absolutely convinced I've got another 1 or 2 of those somewhere. It was a real company from Leighton Buzzard, which is suitably in the south of England. The track that company used to own is now occupied by the Leighton Buzzard Light Railway or Narrow Gauge Railway. I'll put a link to that in the description. I did have a look at it, so whoever in the comments commented on it, thank you. I love that stuff. One of these days I'll get there and have a look. The company was in existence right up until the mid-60s, so even though private owners' wagons had long gone by then, perhaps they had a couple kicking around. I've got these in an arrangement that there is a photograph somewhere I've seen of them in that order, and just 4 of them. But they were behind a Class 47, which I don't own at this point. So yeah, the Class 40 seems to be much too preoccupied with southern region carriages to show any interest in hauling its former designated train. You give it a new chip and it wanders off to do something else. What can I tell you? Now then, in one of these wagons, yeah, there we go, there are some screws. I will take a couple of those and see what can't be done under here with that ridiculous connector block that just won't stay put. I wonder if they're big enough and long enough. Let's have a check. They weren't even close to being big enough, and anything bigger is going to come right through into the runway. What to do? We'll come up with something, but it's not a pleasant... it's something really simple. That needs gluing to that. When I take that away, it stays there forever. Put glue on the other side, stays there. Leave it, falls off. Yes. Looks like something out of Thunderbirds, doesn't it? Well, I keep saying I need to get that locomotive running for sentimental reasons. And there's another organ grinder in there. I'd love to build one of those things for real one of these days. Looking at this case, of course, it's got to move. I'll probably just move it up higher because the back scene is going in there. Those hooks need to come off the wall. I keep saying that too. Let's do that right now. Huge long screws. They go all the way through the plaster. That's why I didn't want to do it. I knew it was going to make a mess. Well, I've got a vacuum cleaner now, so I'll be able to clean that up in no time. Lovely. It's all got to move again, of course. I'm not going to tuck it right in the bushes in case that paint isn't quite dry. Well, the table's not quite level, but the rest of it, yeah, a little bit of a wrinkle in the canopy, which is just about prototypical. I love it. So yeah, one more little jobbed. Well, other than losing my biscuit for my tea, and I'm still not sure which one of the two got that, the Sparky certainly knew about it. I think the next video will be in there putting that back scene on. There's 9 feet of clear space. I may well sort this out first, but I'll have that done before you join me. Do you see how the wires are coming away there too? I had glued all that. There's something weird going on under there. Anyway, thank you for joining me on the journey. Click that subscribe and like it if you like. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye now.